by my side, though endurance forever. He is a friend of mine, the God of angel arms is always by my side. All right. At the end of my Southern Saints, I pray that that song will have a different meaning to you. I want to give honor to God, Pastor, First Lady, all the saints of God. I'm happy and glad, blessed, and honored to be before you. So if you'll get your Bibles, turn to 2 Kings 6, 8 through 17. We'll be looking at 8 through 14 first, and then 15 through 17. Give you a second to get to it. You have to say amen? Amen. You don't say wait? Okay. 2 Kings 6, 8 through 17, that is. And it reads, when the king of Aram was at war with Israel, he would confer with his officers and say, we will mobilize our forces at such and such a place. But immediately Elijah, the man of God, would warn the king of Israel, do not go near that place, for the Arameans are planning to mobilize their troops there. So the king of Israel would send word to the place indicated by the man of God. Time and again, Elijah warned the king so that he would be on alert there. The king of Aram became very upset over this. He called his officers together and demanded, which of you is the traitor? Who has been informing the king of Israel of my plans? It is not us, my lord king, one of the officers replied. Elijah, the prophet in Israel, tells the king of Israel even the words you speak in the privacy of your bed. Go and find out where he is, the king commanded, so I can send troops to seize him. And the report came back, Elijah is at Dothan. So one night the king of Aram sent a great army with many chariots and horses to surround the city. You may take your seats. Now, saints, here we have the king of Aram, who is at war with Israel. He's holding a meeting with all of his top advisors, counselors, and generals. And they're trying to come up with a plan on how they can destroy God's army. And every time the king thinks that he came up with a perfect plan, God would give the exact words that he spoke to Elijah in the vision. But the king would say that we're going to put this many troops here, this many troops here, and we're going to wait till Israel's army gets to this location, and we're going to ambush them and destroy them. But before he can give the orders to his troops, God had already told Elijah the plan and the traps that his enemy had laid out for him. Now, Acts 10:34 says God is no respecter of persons. So, saints, if God would show Elijah the plans and the traps that his enemies had laid out for him, he'll do the same for you. Amen?
Amen.
See, God is trying to warn us of all the plans and the traps that our enemy has laid out for us. It might not be through a vision, but it could be through a sermon that you hear, or a word that you read, or God might send one of his people to you. The question is, are you listening? And is it what you want to hear? See, we as Christians sometimes develop the same condition that the king of Israel had, and that's selective hearing. See, the prophet Elijah not only warned the king of Israel about what would happen physically if he fell into the traps of his enemy, he also warned him spiritually what would happen if he didn't stop sinning. See, if I came to you and told you that at 2 p.m. a bomb was going to go off at the mall, I can bet you $1 million that at 2 p.m. I know exactly where I won't be able to find you. As a matter of fact, at 1:30, you might not even be in Reno Valley, just to make sure you're clear of blasting. But if I told you that the music that you're listening to, or the friends that you're hanging around, or the TV shows that you're watching are killing your spirit, you would think twice about it. Pastor, I think it's funny how we'll save our flesh from death, but we won't save our souls from hell. Now, moving on with the story. I want you to put yourselves in the shoes of the king of Aram for a minute. Now, can you imagine holding a meeting with a handful of people that you trusted the most in a secret location that nobody knew about? And you would come up with this fantastic and great plan on how you can destroy God's army. But before you can speak the words to your troops, God had already let your enemy know what you're going to do. But then can you imagine how much more frustrated the king was when he finds out that it's not a spy in his camp, but a man in Israel who knows the words that he speaks in the privacy of his bedroom, let alone the secret meeting place. Now, the only thing the king is thinking is forget Israel. Elijah gotta die.
That's right.
And saints, much like Elijah, every Christian in here is in a battle, some way, shape, or form, with an enemy that hates them. John 10:10 says, the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy.
Yes, sir.
Even as we speak, saints, the devil is planning out a strategy on how he can rob us of our hope, kill our faith, destroy our families, our marriages, and even our minds. But the way he attacks us is much more different than the way the king of Aram attacked Elijah, but I can guarantee you this, that his intent is the same. The people of God must die. I will look at your neighbor and say, what a mighty God we serve.
We serve.
See, saints, if we were left to ourselves, if it was me versus the devil, if it was you versus the devil, we would not stand a chance. If it was me versus the armies of hell, I would not stand a chance. But I can guarantee you this, saints, we are not alone. And like Iron Man said in the movies Avengers, they got an army, but we got a home, amen? All right. Now, saints, we're going to move down to verses 15 through 17. It says, when the servant of the man of God got up and went out early the next morning, an army with horses and chariots had surrounded the city. My Lord, what shall we do? The servant asked. Don't be afraid, the prophet answered. Those who were with us are more than those who were with them. And Elijah prayed, O Lord, open his eyes so he may see. Then the Lord opened the servant's eyes, and he looked and saw the hills full of horses and chariots of fire all around us. All around Elijah. Saints, look at your neighbor and say, what do you see?
What do you see?
See, saints, I learned that the easiest way that the devil can knock you off track, get you discouraged, and make you feel like all hope is lost is not by attacking your finances, it's not by attacking your family, it's not even by attacking your own body. But the devil will knock you off track, get you discouraged, and make you feel like all hope is lost by attacking your perspective. See, the word perspective means a particular attitude towards something or a point of view. The devil will attack the way you see things, the way you see the situation. You can have no money in your account, and the devil will make you feel like you're going to be broke forever.
My God.
You can have a little sickness in your body, and the devil will make you feel like you were going to die. One person can call you ugly, or you can look into a magazine and see a picture of someone that society has deemed as beautiful or attractive, and the devil will attack your self-esteem and make you feel worthless.
Good word. Good word.
All by attacking your perspective, the way you see things. And the entire time he's doing this, we forget about what God said about the situation. See, saints, there might not be no money in your account, but the Lord said, I will supply all of your needs according to my riches in glory. Saints, what do you see? See, there might be a little sickness in your body, but the word said, I was wounded for your transgression.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I was bruised for your iniquity.
Yes,
The chastisement of your peace was upon me, and by these stripes you are healed. Saints, what do you see?
Yes, sir. What do you see?
Tell you that you're ugly. But David said, Lord, I praise you because I was fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yes, sir.
Paul said, we are God's masterpiece. So I ask you again, saints.
Yes, sir.
What do you see?
What do you see? Come on, preacher.
Who are you allowing to influence your perspective? Is it God or the devil? See, it's clear from what we read who Elijah's servant was allowed to influence his perspective. He looked outside and saw the whole army, horses and chariots surrounding the city in a vice-like grip, and through his natural eyes, things look as bad as it can get. See, the devil had attacked his perspective and made him feel like they were going to die and like all hope was lost. So he cried out, "My Lord,
My Lord.
what shall we do? What shall we do?" Do I got any folks in the house that's ever been to?
Yes,
Are
yes.
you going through a trial or a storm? And the devil has attacked your perspective. And now you're looking at the situation through your natural eyes.
My God.
And through your natural eyes, it seems like all hope is lost and no end in sight.
Amen.
So you cry out, "Lord, there's nothing I can do this time, Father. It's just too bad, Lord. The situation is too bad, Father. They laying people off at my job, Father. I've only been there for a couple of months, Lord. I know I'm going to be one of the first ones to go, but you know I need this money. My Lord, what shall we do?"
What shall we do?
Or you look at your bank account and you see it's in the negative. And then you look at the table and you see the light bill, gas bill, rent, insurance, and electric is all due at the same time. The kids need shoes and clothes.
All right.
There's no food in the refrigerator and the car needs brakes. My Lord,
My God.
what shall we do? Or you go to the hospital and the doctor tells you that you have a sickness in your body that there's nothing they can do about. We just gonna have to wait and see. And then they start throwing numbers at you. They say 95% of the people who get this don't make it out alive.
My God.
My Lord, what shall we do?
What shall we do?
Do I got any folks in the house who get that before? I know I have.
Yes, yes.
But now look at the response of his master Elijah, where he replies, "Do not be afraid. Those who were with us are more than those who were with them." Now, saints, I'm not going to lie. If I was that servant, I would have been like, okay, Elijah done officially lost it.
Yeah.
The stress then got to him.
Yeah.
Do not be afraid that there's more with us than that entire army out there. It's only two of us, Elijah. Now, unless you're about to transform into the Holy Son, we in trouble.
Yes, sir.
It would have went just like that, saints. But Elijah stayed calm and prayed, "O Lord, open his eyes so he may see." Then the Lord opened the servant's eyes, and he looked and saw the hills full of horses and chariots all around Elijah. Wow. Saints, I think this is one of the best examples of a fleshly perspective versus a spiritual perspective that we have in the Bible. Both men are in the same trial, the same storm,
Right,
the same circumstances, facing the same enemy. But the difference is one man has his mind focused on the situation, while the other man has his mind focused on Christ. Amen?
Amen.
And throughout the Bible, we see the situation happening over and over again. You had thousands of Israelites shaken in their armor because of this giant named Goliath that stood before them.
My God.
Then out came David without a shield, a sword, a pocket full of rocks, and a slingshot, and the only thing he saw was an uncircumcised Philistine.
Yes, sir.
He
Yes,
didn't
sir.
know who he was messing with.
That's
And so it's not that David didn't recognize Goliath was big, he just knew his God was big.
Yes, sir.
All right, you take a look at Moses leading God's people out of Israel, or out of Egypt, and they ran into that Red Sea. Since I can only imagine what those Israelites were saying and thinking. You got Pharaoh's armies behind you. You got a Red Sea in front of you, and through their natural eyes, all hope was lost. But then you got Moses, who was in the same situation, the same circumstance, the same trial, facing that same Red Sea, and the only thing he saw was an opportunity for God to show how bad it was. Amen?
Amen.
We had Jesus himself and his disciples in the same boat with him. Then the storm started raging, and the boat started rocking, and water started to flood the boat. And instead of focusing on the Messiah, the Son of God, who was in the same boat with them, they decided to focus on the storm and the water that was flooding the boat, and they went and woke Jesus up out of his sleep. Now, saints, if Jesus Christ is taking a nap, it's probably because he's dead tired. Jesus not just going to be sleeping to sleep. I know me, I get a little tired from doing regular activities, taking out the trash, going here and there. Jesus is fresh off of miracles, healing folks, casting out demons, and he's like, you know what, I need to lay it down for a minute. And the disciples had the nerves to go wake him up. And then when they woke him up, they had the nerve to tell him, "Teacher, do you not care if we drown?"
Wow.
Then Jesus got up and went outside to the same trial, the same situation, that same storm that was raging, and simply said, "Peace,
Peace.
be still." And he turned to his disciples and said, "Do you still have no faith? After everything I've done for you, after all the people you've seen me heal, after all the demons you've seen me cast out, do you still have no faith?"
My God.
I would hate for Jesus to ask me that, saints. See, saints, I'm starting to realize that David, Moses, and Jesus all had one thing in common. While they were going through the trial and the storm, they remembered that the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. They knew they were following God's will and doing what He had called them to do, so that giant that they faced, that sea that was in front of him, and the storm that was raging were all steps that had been ordered by God. So I ask you again today, saints, what do you see?
My God.
Do you see a giant standing in front of you? Or do you see a God that's bigger? Do you see a sea in front of you? Or do you see an opportunity for God to show how bad He is? Do you see a storm that's raging? Or do you remember that same Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead?
Yes, sir.
It's the same Spirit
Yes,
that
sir.
God has put inside of you.
Yes,
and
sir.
it gives you the power to speak to your finances,
Yes, sir.
speak to your
All right,
situation,
all right. Yes, sir.
speak to that storm and say, "Peace, peace,
Yes,
and
sir.
it must obey." Do you see an army, horses and chariots encamped in front of you? Or do you see protection all around you, saints? What do you see? Now, I know some of you who are going through a storm today, and to you it just doesn't make sense. You in church on Sundays, Bible study on Wednesdays, you pay your tithes and your offering, you pray,